Sup bros, I'm Terry Bull, and I'm doing a guest video for Wrath of Commentary, and I want to give you a huge thanks, bro, for letting me share the space on your channel for this once. And for this video, I'm going to be talking about the concept of representation in games, because I had a interesting conversation with a bro on Twitter about this. He was arguing that I think he was talking about Mass Effect Andromeda because this was in the middle of all that. That there was no male-male relationships in it because it was targeted towards straight white or straight heterosexual men. And I brought up the fact that, well, no, they have a possible lesbian relationship, and that's a bit more than they've done in the past. So obviously they're expanding their target audience. But he argued that I said primary, and I'm like, I wasn't arguing that. But I got called homophobic for focusing on the lesbian thing, and it didn't really go anywhere. But yeah, but it did get me into thinking about how I just don't get the need to see yourself totally in the screen. I mean, I can understand not liking a movie because you can't relate to the characters on any level, but I don't see why you have to have your gender or sexuality or race or whatever specifically represented on the screen, because to me those are the most superficial aspects of a person. And it got me thinking about the characters that I relate to in the media that I've read and watched. And since I'm currently playing a video game, I thought I would go through the characters in that and talk about how I relate to them and on what levels. So here I am. I'm currently playing Final Fantasy XIII, which came out in 2009, and I'm in Chapter 3, so I'm going to give a spoiler warning. I don't know how far that really is in the game, but I'm going to give a spoiler warning right now in case anyone hasn't played it yet and would like to without having any knowledge of what goes on. You bros have been warned at this point. The basic story so far, so you get the setting for what I've seen the characters do, is apparently there's this world called Cocoon and this world called Pulse. And there's these things called Fal'Cie, which I think are like gods or spiritual beings or something that have some sort of physical form. And Pulse hates Cocoon. And the Fal'Cie from Pulse try and enslave humans to try and destroy Cocoon. And a Pulse Fal'Cie has been discovered in this one area. And because of the risk of someone being enslaved by it and thus being, forced to destroy their homeworld, this purge has been enacted, which seems on the surface to be just driving everyone in that area to Pulse, but is actually a planned execution of everyone involved. And you are introduced to the characters in the midst of the fight that goes on in this one region, and they all come together and eventually enter this temple where they meet the Fal'Cie involved, and I'll go into the different things that happen with each character as they're relevant, because not everything is. And then they fight the Fal'Cie. They get branded as these things called l'Cie, who are bound to the Fal'Cie thing and have to do whatever it says, whatever they give as the focus or quest or whatever, on threat of becoming this grotesque crystal thing if they fail. And now at this point, they're trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing. So the first character you are introduced to is Lightning. She is a pink-haired ex-military woman, ex-soldier, who she's kind of kick-ass. I enjoy watching her fight. She is very creative in how she goes about it. And she is very no-nonsense. She's very focused. She doesn't show emotions very much, which makes sense since she's in the military, and because, the military teaches you to stay in strict control of your emotions so you can don't, bug out in a combat situation. So that makes sense that she's not like, most traditional female characters that are very emotional or very used to showing their emotions in public. She's on the train because she's trying to find the Fal'Cie because it enslaved her sister. She's actually also trying to find her sister. And I don't know very much about her aside from that. I don't really know her backstory aside from the fact that her sister became a l'Cie, and she doesn't like one of the other characters, Snow, who we'll talk about in just a little bit. But her goal is to find and save her sister, and eventually, of course, the world, because she's now branded as something that's, according to everything she's been told, is supposed to destroy the world. And now the entire world is totally against her. And I relate to her. I do. Because she's willing to do anything to save her sister. She's willing to fight the entire Cocoon military and basically, I guess, a god to save her sister. She finds her sister in this temple thing, and her sister wakes up from being unconscious or sleeping or whatever and tells her that she needs to go save Cocoon and turns into Crystal, which is, I guess, the reward for fulfilling your focus or the thing that the fallacy wanted you to do. She obviously wants to save her sister from being Crystal because in her eyes it's basically the same as being dead. And so after that she goes into the room with the fallacy and starts hacking at the thing that it's in and trying to get its attention because I guess she wanted to try and deal with it, to try and get it to release her sister. And I think the entire thing of wanting to protect your family is very relatable. I have sisters too, and if something happened to them, I would go through hell and high water to save them if necessary, and I know they'd do the same for me. So, despite the fact that Lightning is female and human, I can definitely relate to her struggles and her desires and wanting to save her sister. The other character that's introduced at roughly the same time is this guy named Saz. He is black. That's all I can say about him because I don't think a Cocoon has Africa. So I guess the most intersectional term I could say is person of color, but this never ever comes up in any of their interactions. He is treated just like everyone else is by everyone. And I know less about him than I do Lightning. They haven't gone into his backstory so far. I just know that there's a person named Dodge that he is trying to find. And so his motivation is finding this Dodge person. Judging by his clothes, I think that he might be involved in some sort of law enforcement. He wears a military-like coat, but he doesn't seem familiar with some of the military equipment that is being used against them, and Lightning does. So I don't think he's in the military, but I'm going to assume that he's in some sort of law enforcement, though it's never ever discussed. And he wields dual pistols, so that's another reason why I'm guessing he's in some sort of law enforcement. His appearance and his weapons of choice. He is very friendly. He is very concerned, and he seems to be a very caring kind of bro. And he is very staunch in his beliefs. There's one scene where Lightning reveals to him that Sarah is a Lassie, and according to everything he knows, a Lassie is a danger to everyone. And so he reaches for his guns because he's ready to kill Sarah to save the world. And so he has very good intentions. It's clear that he wants to do the right thing. Although at this point in time, he doesn't know what the right thing is. He's not sure if he's supposed to destroy Cocoon or save Cocoon. At this point, he's pretty much questioning every single thing that he's been brought up to know. Because after becoming a Lassie, he's not being controlled by this thing. He has the freedom to either do the focus or not and suffer the consequences. And so he's very relatable. He's kind of, out of everyone, I think he's the everyman character. They're just trying to figure it out just like everyone else is. And I can definitely relate to that. Because there's lots of things in my life that I don't know if what I'm supposed to do, and I choose one path and hope for the best. And he also has this chicken-like thing, which I think is called Chocobo, and that seems to be driving him too. But whoever this Dodge character is, he does carry for a lot, and I can understand and relate to wanting to be reunited with someone important. And I'm genuinely looking forward to learning more about Saz. The third character we were introduced to is Snow. He's probably my favorite character. Snowbro is introduced fighting the military and trying to protect the civilians who were being taken and killed by the Purge. And he basically runs the militia. According to the flashbacks, he has a bunch of bros, and the data log said he basically ran a militia that helped keep the town that they lived in safe from wild animals, which is apparently the military's job, but they don't trust the military. So they formed their own thing, according to the data log things that I've read. And so, but he is very much an extrovert. He is positive in every single thing he does. He wants to inspire people to be their best, even in the very, bleak thing of, having the entire military out to kill you. He cares for each one of his bros and very much for Sarah. And he wants to protect everyone. He wants to save everyone. And his plot is very much entwined with another character who I'll be getting to next. At one point, he is trying to recruit civilians to help in the fight, and this woman gets up and takes a gun in order to protect her son. And she actually has a really badass scene where she fires a rocket launcher and destroys one of the military ship, which unfortunately is her downfall because it causes one of the ship's rockets to misfire and cause the bridge to collapse. Snow tries to save her, but isn't able to, and he blames himself. He totally blames himself for it because he was not able to save someone and he failed at his job. You can tell he views himself as a failure. And right before the woman fell, she told him to take care of her son. And so his character is driven not only by the will to save the one he loves, because he's engaged to Lightning's sister, but also to make up for his perceived fault and to protect this kid who he doesn't even know. And in the temple, he has a few encounters with Lightning where she shows utter contempt for him because he knew about Sarah becoming a Lassie before she did, and he didn't say anything about it. And she also, since she's in the military and he's in that militia, she thinks he's basically a troublemaker in all the senses of the word. But when confronted with the foul sea, he begs that her brand is given to him so she can live and he will go on because he is willing to give up his life for hers. And that's very noble. And then afterwards, when they're trying to figure out what to do, he takes the fact that Sarah becoming Crystal after telling them to save Cocoon means that their focus is to save Cocoon, as opposed to Lightning, who takes the more traditional route of, okay, now we're enemies of Cocoon, we are destined to destroy Cocoon, that can't possibly be what the Fal'Cie says. And so that causes further conflict between Snow and Lightning. But notice he takes the very positive route about it, rather than the more negative, pessimistic, cynical route that Lightning does. And I really relate to him. I relate to him the most because that's the type of person that I am. I like to keep positive. I like to encourage my bros to do their best. I like to I like to inspire people. I don't mind taking the lead in things. And despite the fact that I have never had to see someone die because I couldn't save them, I can put myself in his shoes and see exactly how troubling that would be. And so I think he is my favorite character, the one I can relate to the most, just because he fits my personality the most. And that brings me to Hope, who is the son of the woman who Snow could not save. You meet him a little bit during the scene with his mother, but you really get to meet him in the scene where she dies. He witnesses it and he's totally shaken. Bros, he does not know what to do. And another character the last character, has to kind of snap him out. She doesn't slap him, but she shakes him out of it in order to get him to say, we need to get going. But, Hope is probably my least favorite character. The one that, and I can't really relate to him on, I can barely relate to him at all. He's very whiny. He blames Snow for the death of his mom. He thinks that Snow convinced his mom to do that, and not that it was her own willful, voluntary decision. He blames him, and his goal is to find him and confront him about this. And every single fucking time that he is with Snow, he freezes up and doesn't. And, well, I can understand. He's he's traumatized at this point. He's shaken. His possibly one and only caretaker has been killed. I don't know if he has a father or not at this point. But every single time he has the opportunity to talk to Snow, he wastes it. He freezes up. And I mean, at one point, Snow interrupts him trying to and says that no, we need to go. But in the temple. But for the other times, he had plenty of time to just go up to Snow and say, "Hey, bro, this is what happened, and I'm upset about it," or whatever he wanted to say. But no, he wasted. And see, I can't see myself in that position because I'm the type of bro who, if I'm upset with someone about something, I won't I won't bring it up in public and make a huge deal, but I'll say, "Hey, bro, I need to talk to you. Let's go over here and we'll talk it out." And while I can understand the bro's apprehension, it's a very heavy subject, and it would be something I would be a little bit more scared to do because I'm dealing with someone who I believe killed my mother, but I wouldn't freeze up. That's just not me. So I think Hope is probably the character that I relate to the least. And that brings me to Vanille. Vanille is probably the most mysterious character out of all of them. She has been given absolutely no backstory yet, although I think she's doing some narrations every once in a while. She was obviously there when the event happened, and I don't know exactly what she's trying to do, except for, of course, now she wants to save Cocoon, because that's the overall, I guess, meta goal of this entire game, is saving Cocoon. She is very level-headed. She is very intelligent. She's not afraid to speak her mind when offended. There's actually a scene where Hope is, moping about, and she just flippantly describes the entire situation they're in and basically says, "So what? We need to get going, otherwise we are going to die," essentially. In every single scene that she's in with people, she tries to cheer them up and, drive them to go on and, try and get everyone to get along. She's one of those mediating characters that tries to, connect everyone and get them to work together. She's a very cheerful character. She's very, and despite the fact that I know nothing about her motivations at this point, she fits my personality a lot too. And so I relate to her a lot. And I think she's probably my second favorite character. And she also seems to know a little bit more about what's going on. But yeah, I think if I were to rank from most relatable to least relatable characters, I'd have to go Snow, Vanille, Lightning, Saz, and Hope. Snow, Snow basically has my personality to, well, a more extreme version of my personality. I'm not as totally as gung-ho as he is, I don't think. But then again, he's in a very adrenaline activating situation that's not something I'll ever probably be in. So I don't know how he is in day-to-day life. I think that if these bros were real in real life, I would have fun hanging out with any of them, aside from maybe Hope, because he's kind of annoying. And my opinion of him might change as the game goes on. I don't know what he'll do. But yeah, I think they are all very interesting people. I think that I want to know more about all of them, even Hope. And I have virtually nothing in common with any of them. Well, I am a male, but even the female characters I can relate to on some level because I can see myself in their position doing the same things. I can empathize them, even though their situation is totally alien to me. So I don't see that this is a bad game because there are no bulls in it. I don't see this game as bad because there are no... Yeah, I don't. I'm thoroughly enjoying this game because I like the characters and I want to learn more about. To me, they are interesting characters. It is not because I do relate to the ones that I can see myself I see myself the most in, but that's because they match my personality and basically do what I would do in the situation. It has to do with their actions and not the color of their skin or species or gender or sexuality. If Snow were gay, I would like him just as much. If Saz were gay, I would like him just as much. If Lightning turns out to be a lesbian, I will still like her. None of that matters to me. I like or dislike them based off of how they act, what they do, and how they react to things, and how much I agree with how they react to things. I think that Vanille is a very level-headed, good person because she pushes Hope to try and do the thing that he's wanting to do anyway. and tries to get him to get past his fear. And that's what I like doing. If I have a bro who has a problem and is afraid to do something, I'll encourage him. I mean, I won't force him to do it if he doesn't want to do it, of course, but I mean, that's all I can do. And I want my friends and bros to be happy. So I'll try and do my best to do that. And I would very much protect my friends and family. So I very much relate to both Snow and Lightning's intentions. And if I was in a disaster and I was separated from someone I care about, and that was the only person I knew in that situation, I would want to get back with them as soon as I possibly could. So I can totally relate to Saz's motivations too. But like I said, that has nothing to do with their skin color, gender, sexuality, or species. It has everything to do with what and who they are. And that's all I have to say, bros. If you like my video, please subscribe to me. I'm Terry Bull. On search Terry Bull on YouTube. At this point I don't have a custom URL yet, but if you want to talk to me, leave me comments on my videos. I'm Terry Bull on Gab and Twitter and Minds. So subscribe to me there and follow me, and head up the conversation there. I do actually check my YouTube messages, so if you want to send me a private message through that, go ahead and do that too. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Peace, love, Tauros!